Okay.
We'll be off camera.
Is it 5 yet? Okay. Call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's take a moment. There's been a lot of things going on the past couple of days. Let's hope things calm down. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a couple of things in front of us today. And the first is Basis Industrial Route 9D application ZB 24003. Okay. The applicant is seeking the following area variances for the redevelopment of 4.98 acres on the properties located within the GB zoning district. No construction activity is proposed within the R15 zoning district. The redevelopment shall consist of the demolition of the existing Red Pepper Diner, the Orange County Transit buildings for the construction of a 112,584 square foot two-story self-storage facility. We'll have a lower basement level of 2,276 square feet. Oh, I'm sorry. A 2,276 square foot fast food establishment and a 3,045 square foot car wash. Should also mention that you're going to be demolishing 2 other buildings on the property in the R15 zoning district. Okay.
Correct.
The existing Sunoco station and food mart shall remain. Additional project improvements will include parking, driving aisles, lighting, landscaping, and associated amenities. First variance, floor area ratio of 0.18 FAR, where 0.40 FAR is the maximum allowed. Said variance will result in a 0.58 floor area ratio variance. Said request is in violation of Town Code Section 150, Attachment 2, Schedule of regulations for non-residential districts. The boundary setback for a drive-through facility, a 17-foot boundary setback where a 150-foot boundary is required. That's next to the beer distributor, correct? Okay.
I'm not sure if I know the beer distributor.
Said variance will result in a 133-foot setback boundary in the from the R15 zoning district. The request is in violation of Town Code 150, Attachment 2. Okay, off-street parking, a variance of 106 parking spaces where 156 is required. Said result will result in 50 parking spaces. Okay, off-street loading, a variance of 5 loading spaces where 7 is required. Said variance will result in 2 loading spaces. And the maximum building height. That's been removed, hasn't it, the maximum building height?
No, the building height has been added. What was removed was the aggregate area of the signage that was going to hang on the building. That has become zoning compliant.
The variance of a half-story where the maximum height is 2.5 stories, 35 feet. Said variance is a 3-story, 33-foot, 4-inch high self-storage building. Okay, and the monument sign. You want 2 monument signs instead of 1. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of this. It's in the public record. Okay, sir, please identify yourself, introduce yourself to the board, and you have your say here.
Yeah, you need to open the, make a motion to open the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm sorry. They're always reminding me to do that.
Good evening. For the record, Corey Salomon from Zarin & Steinmetz here tonight on behalf of Basis Acquisition. You've essentially just done my presentation.
Speak up, please.
I'm sorry. You've essentially done my presentation for me. Since the last meeting, we revised our plans a little bit. The area sign variance that we were requesting, we brought that sign into compliance. So the building sign is now zoning compliant. But we did add the additional story variance. It's for the basement. It's what drives the FAR variance and the height variance. It's counted as a story because we're using it for business purposes, but as a practical matter, you won't be able to tell the difference in the size of the building, whether it's 2 stories or 3 stories.
I don't think that's a variance, quite personally. It's a basement, and correct me if I'm wrong here, a variance is from the ground level up.
So the definition of story in the code, and I'll just read the relevant portion of it. A basement shall be counted as a story if it is used for non-accessory business purposes, which is how we're using it. So to be safe, we're going to seek that variance.
Okay. All right.
And then we have 2 curb cuts to access the site. It's about 600 feet of frontage that we have. In between where we're proposing the 2 monument signs is approximately 310 feet. And so just given, the length of the frontage, we think would be more effective for us to have the 2 signs. And procedurally, we have not received anything back from the county yet, so we can't close the public hearing or the vote this evening. So I don't have my full project team with me. I'm here to answer any questions that anyone may have. And then
We got plenty of questions.
What's that?
Oh, we got plenty of questions.
Perfect. And then I'll have my full team back at the August meeting.
Okay. Anybody have, Johnny, you want to start? Any questions?
I mean, my biggest concern is the traffic, how it will impact. I'm not really concerned about building size, but the traffic already is a hindrance there. When you try to get to the bridge on a normal day, and then if you throw a game in the midst of it as well at the Renegade Stadium, now you're backed up for multiple minutes. So now you're putting up this, storage facility, a QSR, a car wash. I just want to know how they're going to impact.
Has there been any traffic studies associated with this?
Yes, we went through this entire process with the planning board. After a review, the planning board adopted a negative declaration for the environmental impacts.
Okay, I did read it all, so I don't remember there being traffic counts or anything like that listed in the document, so.
I'm not sure if they listed the traffic counts in the negative declaration, but that was certainly in our study.
I think they were pushing it for the DOT to do a
Right.
study on that.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is people are going to divert to the next exit, and we already are congested in the village and Route 52 here. Again, my biggest concern is the traffic, being I live, within a quarter-mile proximity of that location. It's already a hurdle to get back and forth. Just because of the bridge traffic and it being a single lane in both north and south, now you put a game in the midst, and now you're putting,
I certainly understand the concern. I would say that the variances that we're requesting aren't going to impact traffic one way or the other.
That's true. Okay. That's it, Johnny?
yeah,
Ann?
thank you.
I do have a couple of questions, and some of them may be ignorant, so I appreciate your tolerance. So I'm looking at the parcel access and, kind of comparing it up against the project, what's highlighted as going to be the project. So I'm assuming you've combined those lots, or those portions of the lots?
They will all be merged.
Okay. What is the yellow dotted line?
I'm not sure what yellow dotted line you're referring to.
In the project?
Those are the lots.
approach?
Those are the lots.
No, they're not the lots. Sure, yeah, of course. They're actually not the lots, and let me,
Oh, they might be the zoning districts.
oh, maybe zoning. Okay, that makes sense.
I believe that's a zoning.
Okay, that makes
Separates
sense.
about 15 inches.
All right. So it looks to me like the house, so there's 2 brick houses on that property. Are they being knocked down?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That was one of the things
Well,
and
'cause
when
you
I
said
first
2
read,
buildings, but aren't there-
when we first read this, it wasn't mentioned. And when I went over to the site, walked it, and that's when I started going deeper into it. It wasn't until deep in the document where you mentioned him removing those houses, so, but, yeah, I'm
So
sorry.
then, no, thank you. So then there's actually 3 buildings that are getting knocked down, if not 4. Is that right? Because you would just.
Well,
said-
he was mentioning, they mentioned the 2 buildings on the GB
Okay.
district.
All
Those
right.
are in the R15 district.
Okay, and so, just for layman, there's 4 buildings that are being knocked
Yes.
down. Okay.
Correct.
So what I found interesting was how you're laying it out. So I am actually kind of familiar with the property. I painted that big cinder block green building, so or was part of painting it. So what you're doing in essence is kind of pushing everything forward towards 9D. And then those other buildings are going to be part of the wraparound, the drive wraparound?
I'm not sure which other building, I mean, what we did is we pushed everything into the GB zone, so we're trying to
Right,
stay
I
out of
understand.
the residential zone entirely.
Okay, so then part of my question also is and it didn't sound like you were sure about it, and maybe you did understand the answer. So the 17-foot setback, where is that? That's going to be
That's
up
along
here
the-
next to the beer place?
The beer distributor, yeah.
Okay,
That-
so
that
it's
wall-
not towards,
The wall, and that's
Travis
the entrance to the drive-through.
gotcha,
That's the way I understood it, is that
okay.
correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 133 feet to the residential zoning district line. We need to be 150 feet away.
Yeah. So I guess my larger concern is, I had read, and there's a lot of information, and I appreciate all of the pictures and really kind of laying everything out so that people who don't necessarily know that site are going to be able to understand it. So my kind of bigger concern is more the folks on Pappas Lane, and that neighborhood. So it's a huge ask that now they enjoy kind of a relatively quiet exit and entrance, although 9D is a hot mess, so it's not all that quiet, but it's going to become a major intersection from the sounds of that. So although that doesn't, I felt obligated to bring that up as a concern, because if we're looking at the entire project, and some of the things I really like, some of the things I don't really like. One of the things is cleaning it up, which is nice. And you're not really taking up more building space, so in that essence, it doesn't raise any
All
flags.
right,
What
can we
does concern me-
stick to the variances?
I do
that
have a
we're-
concern about the permeable and impermeable surfaces, and so that is in part with the parking lots. So I appreciate that there's less parking lots.
They'll be certainly less impervious when we're done.
Well, all of that area is permeable surface right now, except for the buildings themselves, and it won't be when you're done, so, because you're gonna.
Well, most of this lot is 100%, I mean, it's pretty much all paved. It's all impervious right now. It's all parking lot and
On the
buildings.
front, you're talking about in the front,
I'm talking about,
towards 9D?
yeah, the area that we're proposing construction on.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And with respect to Pappas Lane, your traffic question, again, I don't think that pertains to our variances, but that was something that was explored and looked into extensively at the planning board.
Okay, is that it, Ann?
Yep, it is, thank you.
All right, Ismail?
I was just concerned about the traffic also on Route 90. Answer the question?
All right, I'm going to jump back a little bit again to my concerns about parking,
Okay.
okay? I guess one question I have is at the gas station convenience store. I guess that's staying until the end of their lease. When is the end of their lease?
I believe they have 2 more years left, but I'll get the exact date for you the next time I'm here.
And what's going to happen with that afterwards? Oh,
Okay, you'll have your,
No, I'm just answering.
Yep.
2037 is the answer. I was
2037.
mistaken on that.
Okay.
So it's
That's quite a
13 years
long
left.
time. Now, from what I'm seeing by your project, it seems to be limiting parking for this convenience store and gas station. I've been over to the site, and right now, I mean, there's a lot of paved areas behind there, and people pull in and park all over the place. Well, all that's gonna go away. Even, I believe, the store owner or manager, whatever, parked over on the side somewhere. Now, I guess he's gonna have to park in one of those 2 parking spaces that are shown on the plans. And where are all these customers gonna park now that all this area behind there is developed? I understand this is like a kind of a previous condition, but it is affected by your project. Okay, you are eliminating a lot of parking spaces on the site. I'm just a little concerned for, on that business, on what's gonna happen to them as far as parking for their business.
Yeah, I mean, I think one, the parking that they have is the parking that they have, and I understand that they've been using the other areas of the property, and I mean, I think as a practical matter, when people come to a site, if they see an open parking space, they're gonna park there and they're gonna walk over.
There's not many parking
That's
spaces
your
on the
response.
site.
That's your response.
Well, I mean.
To the limited parking, 2 parking spaces for the food mart. That's your response.
That's- I mean, I
It
don't
is
know.
what it is.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it
All
kind
right.
of
Just wanna understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of is
You know.
what it is.
Okay.
So this gas station and convenience store are part of your property?
Yes.
Okay, they're your tenants?
They will be our tenants once we close on the property, yes.
Okay, so, but there's no concern for the parking there's concern for the parking on the rest of the area, but no concern for parking for their business?
It has not been brought to my attention that that was an issue that we were
Okay.
concerned
It's
with.
something maybe you should look into, I think, personally, because they've got no parking, okay? And if they wanted to, like you said, move out to other parking, which they could do, but that's already been diminished by 100 parking spaces.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'd have to look at their lease to see exactly what their lease says and what they're provided in their lease.
Okay. Because the second part of my concern is, when you have a tanker come in there to fill their tanks, number one, they have to pull in around the building, I guess coming in from Pappas Lane, and then they'll have to back that truck back around.
Can you
Get
put
back
that
out.
on the board, please? Can you put that up?
Which,
The,
I saw one of the plans showed
one of the
the
plan that
roof for the
shows the
truck.
tanker.
For the gas tanker.
let's see if it's here.
Sure noted which one
Was
it
it the
was.
one before it?
I don't remember.
I'm not sure it's in this plan set, to be honest.
Oh, I got it here, so I don't want to pull it out. I will.
What drawing number is it, Ron? Do
Yeah, if you
know?
tell me the drawing number, I'll,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pull it up and get the drawing number.
Jesus.
It's gotta be circulated.
here you go, it's the last one.
There it is.
There it is. Now,
Can you zoom in on that at all, or?
Where's my zoom in arrow?
And I'm probably putting you on the
Float around
spot.
at the bottom. Float around at the bottom, there you go.
There we go.
Now, if I'm reading that correctly, it seems as though that tanker's got to pull in and around to the gas station, stop, dump his load. Now, he can't just pull back out because of all the curbing there along 9D now. He's got to back out and around and try to turn around.
and you're blocking the pumps.
I'll have an answer to that question with my
Okay.
traffic
Yeah,
engineer, because
basically,
that's just out of my,
Your project team's not here,
yeah,
right?
my
So
project
I
team's not here,
understand.
yeah.
I can save that
Right,
question
These are
for
the
next
things
time.
that we need to have addressed.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm kind of concerned for, they are your tenant. They're going to be there till 2037. They do need parking. It is your project site. You should at least consider that.
I'll discuss it with my client.
And access to the pumps, I mean, that, I understand the safety issue and DOT is trying to restrict access, to 9D. But, and I have seen people coming out of the gas station making a left, can't fix stupid sometimes.
You can't.
But the thing is, you can't block the guy's pumps, you can't restrict access to his pumps.
No, because now it's going to spill out onto the road.
So there's a big grassy area between the road and the pumps. Is there some way you could open that up to provide more access to the pumps from that other access road?
Well, there is an access point there right now.
No, there isn't. The only access point is from the back. And there's an exit in the front.
No, people come in and out in the front of your gas station?
No, right, is the access and entrance staying the same?
Well-
Right now we have two.
And those access points will stay the same until when the lease is terminated, then that access gets closed off.
That's not what the
That's what the
planning
plan
board
shows.
understands.
That's,
That's not what the understanding of the planning board. And that's not what this says.
We've absolutely told the planning board that access has to stay open because we have an existing tenant, and it will be closed when their lease is up. I mean, that's the story we've told them time and time again at the meetings.
Well, Ron, we need more information from this project team.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. We can get more information when your team's here.
Yep.
I understand you don't have that information.
But, well, that information I do have. That I know. I'm the one who,
But if you look at the plans, it doesn't look like those are staying open. It looks like there's curbing, all new curbing going in there.
I just know the access to the gas station as they are right now will remain the same until their lease is up.
So we need to talk to your architect
Yep.
then and find out why he's showing
Right.
curbing going across where those access points are.
Like I
all I
said,
have.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
Kath?
I think my initial thing is just the amount of variances that are asked for is just beyond what we usually see, but I do understand that there's 3 different businesses going on there, so I'm going to take that into account. But I will piggyback on Tim with the amount of parking spaces for the convenience store / gas station. I don't think that there's anything like that in that area except for, what is it, a Family Dollar or Dollar General or one of those type of stores. So it is convenient for, and there's a large housing complex there. So I think it's convenient for a lot of the residents in the area to be able to access something quickly to get groceries and that kind of thing. So I think 2 parking spaces might not be enough. I understand that they could go to the storage unit and park there and walk over, because not too many people park at a storage unit, but people are lazy, so that would be my only kind of concern. But everybody else said what I was thinking, so I'm last.
I had one other question too on the monument signs.
Mm-hmm.
Are they just regular signs, they're not lit up or? Right.
yeah,
didn't
no, I
get a
mean,
chance to-
I believe in our plan set, we have a,
Yeah, I didn't get a
we
chance.
show
LEDs or
them.
anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No, and they're compliant in terms of sizing. The
Sizing
variance.
and everything,
Yeah,
yeah,
size
I
is fine.
understand that,
It's just the number of them that requires the variance.
That's the only questions I have.
That's it, Kath? Yeah, the other thing with the tanker, when they're doing, how long does it take to dump a load? About a half an hour? 45 minutes? So, with that island and with that, curbing there, you're blocking access to the pumps for 45 minutes, and those 2 parking spots, which is the only parking for the food mart, especially when the guy's got his hoses out, dumping his load. So, I see that as a problem, okay? The 2 parking spots, and I don't understand why you have the loop around for the car wash. It seems like that seems to be a waste of space, and some way, if we can use some of that space or maybe move stuff back and provide more parking for the food mart, that might fix the problem for the parking.
I'll discuss with the site engineer.
The other thing that I'd like to see is the floor plan for the storage facility. Right now, it's just a big box. And I'd like to know if there's any aisles going to the outside walls, because I would like to see other accesses to that building from the outside walls. Because I don't think 2 loading spaces is enough for 790 units.
I will
Now, is that a
certainly
bank
have-
of elevators in there?
I'm sorry?
Is that a bank of elevators?
I think that's just the stairwell there. I don't think there's
Or is that where the cars pull in and they close the door in a garage kind of an area?
those are the loading spaces, correct.
Those
Right in the
are
front there?
loading areas, but are there a bank of elevators in that loading area?
How many elevators are there?
I'll have to confirm with the architect.
Okay, we'll like to know that.
Yep.
And it's kind of tight in there, I think we're gonna need another loading access, from another wall to load and unload.
I mean, I will bring that
I
to
don't-
them, but they operate a lot of self-storage facilities, and they're very confident
Of
that
course,
what they
they're a
have.
national firm, they call the shots.
Yeah,
we hear
and they
that.
kinda know-
We hear that all the time, yeah. The monument signs is not a concern to me personally. I don't know if anybody else on the board has concern, you know. Now, when you said the sign is now in compliance, what exactly do you mean by that?
I believe that we were allowed to have a maximum of 64 square feet for the
So
sign.
many- Yeah, so many per square feet, because somebody had made, and I don't know where, I read it somewheres, but it was some distance back from the road, it was some
150 feet from the road.
150 feet, you could have a bigger sign. I'm not sure the validity of that, and I would like to get clarification on that.
But they reduced the signage one. It's like 64 square feet.
As long as it's within our.
It's code compliant.
Yeah, the sign is
as
code
long as
compliant
within our-
now.
Within our, that's fine.
Yes.
You know.
No, that meant,
Yeah, they're no longer looking for any relief on that.
I'm sorry?
They're no longer looking for any relief on that. They brought it down.
All right,
Yes.
because, there was a comment made that they made it smaller, but because of the distance, it didn't comply. That's the impression
We
I
didn't
got.
get anything from Joel on that, so
Okay,
we'd be the ones to confirm or deny.
all right, good.
Right.
I just want, like I said, I want clarification on the size of that sign.
sure, yeah, I mean, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I know the direction to the architect was to make the sign zoning compliant, make that variance go away.
As far as I know, by looking at the plans, that went away.
Yeah.
It's within the size limits.
Correct. I mean, that was the instruction, and that was the intent of the architect.
Okay. I don't think the parking and the access to the building, the parking for the food mart, that curbing in the front along 9D, the dumping of the truck, those are the concerns of the board, and access to the building, and like I said, I'd like to see a floor plan for that building.
We can get that to you.
Okay. I don't really have any other concerns. Okay.
Okay?
Anybody else on the board? Do we hear anything from the floor?
Ron, did you read the rules into the record?
Okay, I could do that.
I'll give you a copy. That's not the rules.
I have it written down somewhere, but I didn't bring it with me.
No worries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, these are the rules for the floor. Speakers are asked to come to the podium and identify themselves so that their name may be entered into the record. Verbal interruption, shouting, and other outbursts, as well as slanderous and obscene language or signs with the body, face, or will not be tolerated. Speakers are limited to one turn at the mic or the podium, and we kind of give a little break on that. Speakers are limited to 3 to 4 minutes. Speakers should provide only new and different information. We don't want to hear the same thing over and over and over again. Comments are limited to the matters involving the business at hand. And if a person continues to interrupt after the chair has asked them to stop, they will be asked to leave. Okay. Okay. Anybody want to speak up, step up? Sir?
I mean, it doesn't need to go on record. I'm familiar with the firm. We're going to talk offline to make sure.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I guess that's the end of the presentation. And
Nothing more?
We'll move on to the next subject at hand, okay?
Thank you very much.
Take
for
a
your time.
motion to continue the public hearing at the August meeting.
And we'll continue the public meeting at the...
We need a motion.
We
Yeah.
need a motion for that. Do I hear a motion to
Motion.
continue to August?
Yes.
Motion.
August.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And thanks for keeping reminding me for that stuff.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
sir.
Appreciate your time. See you next month.
All right. Okay, Homeland Towers. Homeland Towers LLC, Verizon Wireless, application ZB24002. The applicant is seeking the following area variances for the construction of a wireless communications facility, including a 150-foot monopole to support equipment for Verizon Wireless and 4 collectors. Left side variance, left side setback of 45 feet with 75 feet is the minimum setback in the GB district, zoning district. Said variance will result in a 30-foot side yard setback and a rear yard setback of 33 feet where 75 is the minimum, which will result in a 42-yard rear yard setback. Okay, The land affected by this application is generally on tax map as section 6154, block 00, lot 852-538, located 73 Route 9, consisting of 4.03 acres in the GB zoning district. Okay. Sir, you have the floor.
You want to entertain a motion to open the public hearing?
Again?
Maybe some charts.
Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
That's how I'm going to do it.
Do I have a motion?
That
would be pretty forward.
I know.
Open the public hearing.
Do I have a motion to open the
Yeah,
public hearing?
yes, I did. I
And a
just
second?
did.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Good evening, Board. My name is David Kenny. I'm an attorney with Snyder & Snyder. I'm here tonight to represent the applicants Verizon Wireless and Homeland Towers. At our last meeting, we were discussing, the planning board was reviewing some alternative design types for this tower. One of the ones we discussed was this flagless flagpole. There's some technical reasons why this wouldn't be a better design. Essentially, we're building the monopole tower, which is the other design right here, so that it can have 4 different carriers. There's 4 main carriers that operate in America. It's T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and then Dish Wireless is coming out as the 4th carrier. Due to the T-Mobile and Sprint merger, the Department of Justice made Dish Wireless the FCC licensed 4th carrier. But with this kind of design type, we can have 4 carriers at 4 different rad centers, we'll call it, or 4 different elevations. With this design of the unipole, we then have all of those antennas that we had at one same elevation, and now we have to stack them on top of each other. It also reduces the type of antennas that we can put in there, so there is some little bit of loss of signal coverage and gain by going with this design. And the main thing by stacking the towers, it increases the height. It goes from 150 feet to approximately 180 feet tall. And it's about 4 feet wide, it's like 44 inches in diameter, so it's pretty wide. It looks more like a smokestack than a flagpole. And by vertically stacking, not only does it get taller, but it reduces co-location space for other carriers. You may be able to fit 3, though it's unlikely. It's more likely this would only be a 2-carrier facility. So that would then, more likely than not, create the need for another tower in this area. So the planning board, in reviewing all of those technical reasons, they decided that this was not a preferred design, and that we are reviewing the designs for the monopole design. Now it's a design about color. So they're looking right now about a 2-tone color, the bottom being like brown and the top being a light sky color. And so that the idea being so that in some views when we're against the ridge line, which would be kind of the really only view where you have the ridge line is when you're looking right down our property, down our driveway. And so the idea is getting that break in the color to match up with the break in the ridge, so that the bottom half of the tower, if you're looking against the ridge, it kind of blends in with the brown background, and then the top half blends in with the sky. So that was the main focus of the planning board meeting last meeting. Then there was discussions about an alternative site being reviewed. So one of the sites that we reviewed for this property, and originally we tried to contact them and obtain a lease for it, was Clementi's property. That's the quarry property that's directly behind us. There's 2 in this area, one in Thales, one being Clement's. And so the idea from the planner was she wanted us to look in an area over here or possibly over here for the tower. So again, originally we did reach out to Mr. Clementi back in 2017 and then again earlier this year. Several attempts also in between, but those are the 2 documented attempts, and there's no lease that's been made available. However, at the request of the planning board, we are again reaching out to him and in discussions with him to see if there's any availability on his property, and we'll try to review it. It seems that, excuse me, seems that this actually may be a more intrusive site because of the availability of the space on his property where we would actually have access. So we can't go anywhere because otherwise it would require a new curb cut along Route 9 from DOT. So the area that was being reviewed is basically an area that may have, it was near the old camp that was there. So we're gonna look in that area, but it's not a cleared area, so we would require probably 100 trees to be removed. And the issue with that is those trees are now blocking the views along Route 9 of the quarry. So we would be opening up the views of the tower and then opening up the views of the quarry.
You guys can't win.
Well, we're asked to do an exercise, I'll go through the exercise. I tried to see if we, originally we asked them, no lease was made available, but at the request of the planning board, we are reviewing this alternative site. So ultimately, that's where we are, is next planning board meeting, a hope to have a submission to the board, which will also come to this board as well, based on our review of that alternative site to see if there's, any possible chance that a tower could go there, and then if so, what would be the impact of putting a tower there. It's also a lower elevation, so likely would need to be a taller tower. Yeah.
So it's going to be, will it be more than 199 feet?
No, we won't get above the light requirements for FAA, but maybe I'd have to have my engineer tell me. I know it's a lower elevation, so that just by off bat means that we're going to have to get a taller tower to make up the difference in height.
Does
So
that
again,
impact-
yeah.
Does that impact the shot clock?
So yeah, that's part of the review. So that's still, the shot clock is still running. Right now, it's set to expire on August 19th. However, we know that that's not going to be enough time for this board or either the planning board to make a decision. So we have already discussed that at the August 8th planning board meeting, we'll be further extending that shot clock. And at that meeting, will just be a discussion of how far we want to extend it. But our point with the shot clock is we don't want to force the board to make a decision or this board to make a decision. So we'll continue to extend the shot clock as long as there's reasonable review going along. If you put us on timeout and say you're just not going to look at our application for 3 months, that's when the shot clock comes into play. Not if there's a reasonable question about a certain application item. We'll continue to entertain those questions and respond. Another small thing was, or may not be a small thing, but I provided some data at the last meeting from E911 statistics.
Yes, I do appreciate that.
So I did get from more updated data from 2022. So essentially, there about 13.2% of the 911 phone calls come from wireline devices. So 86.8% of the remaining calls all come from wireless devices.
And we'd like to enter that into the record.
Absolutely. So we did submit that data with this most recent filing, so that is included. I can show it on the
I
screen.
did read that, and it was broken down, and I really wanted a general, like you said, 86%, that's fine. I really didn't want 19-year-olds and 20, I didn't care.
Yeah, there was VoIP in there was E911, text to 911, so, but the main thing is only 13.2% comes from wireline.
Exactly.
The rest of it has to come from wireless devices, and you need wireless service, obviously, to make that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Johnny?
Nope.
Ann?
Nope.
No?
And then here's exactly where the numbers came from.
No. That was easy.
I have no questions either.
Great.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Did we have to read the public hearing rules again?
You gotta open up to the public, I'm sorry to tell you
Oh,
what to do.
okay, we have to
And
open up
after
public
that, you have
hearing
to do
for
a motion to
August.
adjourn to the next
So I
meeting.
need a motion to open up till public hearing. Do I have to do this every time, or can I do it till, just to have it?
Every time, because otherwise we have to do a remailing, so if you make it on record as to when it's gonna be adjourned to,
Okay.
we don't have to go through all
She
that.
keeps me in line.
As she does with me.
Never.
All right, motion to keep public hearing open till August?
I make a motion.
Second?
August.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, is that it, Debs?
As far as I know.
All right, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. You know what I forgot to ask him?
That
Whether it's going to be a Chick-fil-A or...
one.